Welcome back, folks, to another episode of DGS2 Case 3. We've just finished the first day investigation of the third case, and we are about to start the first day of the trial now. Which is why we're on the loading screen for the time being, because if I start this file, it'll just go right into the parts that we are now at. It's October 23rd, 8:52 a.m., Old Bailey's Defendant's Lobby. Literally 2 days before the day I recorded this. Let me move my things. There we go, okay. It's been 6 months since I was banned from defending in court. Yet, here I am again.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodō!
Good morning, Dr. Dirtpour.
What is this, Mr. Naruhodō? I have never experienced such an oppressive atmosphere before.
I feel it too, every time I come here.
It's terrifying. Are you telling me that my homeland, England, has finally managed to develop some sort of technology that allows them to manipulate the weight of the atmosphere at will?
I'm pretty sure it's mostly an emotional thing.
Anyway, are you ready for today, Mr. Naruhodō? Please, defend my life in the trial today. Defend the secret behind my theory, which powers my hyper-electric instantaneous teleportation device.
Yes, I will. In order to do that, I'll have to prove that the huge explosion 2 days ago was an accident.
Well, we'll be fine. I'm sure everything will go just swimmingly.
Too bad, Mr. Naruhodō. Looks like you drew the short straw with this client. Home-san, you're here.
You're so mean. I can't believe you just left me behind. It took me an hour to wake Holmesy up, I'll have you know.
Could it be? Are you him? Sherlock Holmes! Is that you?
That's right. It's me, Sherlock Holmes, in the flesh.
I left England and emigrated to Germany, but even I've heard of you.
Oh, right. They sell the Strand magazine in Germany too, don't they?
This month's issue was thrilling as usual. The adventure of the Silver Blaze, and that famous deduction.
Ah, that case is etched deeply in my memory. It was the one with the snake, right?
That was the adventure of the Speckled Band.
Please, Holmes. Anyway, Holmes-san, thanks for coming today. Waking up early to cheer me on. Ah, sorry to have to break it to you, but I'm actually busy. Huh? I've got to go to Madame Rousseau's now. Are you posing as a temporary wax figure again today? No, it's about the kidnapping. The madam finally requested my services. Oh, you mean the ransom note was for the stolen wax figure? This week's pay, or that wax figure's life depends on it after all. This is a case that even I have to focus on seriously. Aha. In that case, I guess there's no choice, huh? Well, I could wrap up a case like that before breakfast if I really put my mind to it. I'll solve it in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, and be back before you know it. Well, to be precise, I have no breakfast to eat until I get paid for solving it.
Well then, I guess you really will have to give it your all.
That's right, but in life's typical ironic fashion. I'm always at my hungriest when I need to focus the hardest on a case. What are the chances of that? I suppose it's just one of those eternal mysteries.
Yes, I understand that feeling perfectly.
Yada yada. Anyway, Dr. Dirtpour, I wish you luck.
Thank you very much.
Oh, one more thing, Mr. Naruhodō. Could I have a quick word with you over there? What is it? Since you're rather clueless when it comes to science, I figured I should let you know. Hyper-electric instantaneous teleportation. It's truly the technology of dreams, but realizing the little doctor's theory would be completely impossible. But the doctor said his experiment was a success. Yes, it appears that he truly believes that.
I read through the Darcy's paper too, but I think it's a logical impossibility, at least on Earth.
That must mean the doctor's theory is off by a lot, huh? An impossible experiment was a success. I guess that means there's a contradiction here, huh? Indeed, and that contradiction is probably the most important point to this whole trial. What could this mean? Well, anyway, I must be off. I wish you luck as well.
Okay, work hard, Holmesy. Anyway, you'll be on your own today, so do your best, okay?
Huh? What are you gonna do, Iris-chan?
I've got something I've got to take care of, so I've got to go too.
Oh no! I see.
I'll have a big surprise waiting for you later.
Sure. I wonder what it is. Naruhodō is gonna be at the defense bench by himself? What? Defendant! Defense! It's time for the trial to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. That's one way to come back to the frickin' courtrooms after 6 months of not being in a courtroom. He's gonna have to be a lawyer all on his own. Right. Science experiment that couldn't have possibly been a success. And the doctor, who insists that it was. Got to find the answer to that. Naruhodō Ryūnosuke. Oh boy. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of tug-of-warring between me and Dirtpour. Because this might go somewhere that's not gonna be fun. It's the same day, 9:10 a.m. in the morning, the Old Bailey Supreme Court.
Now then, in the name of the Queen, I now declare court to be in session. We will now begin the fair and impartial trial of defendant Benjamin Dirtpour. Are both the prosecution and defense prepared to make their cases?
The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. And dressed for the occasion. It's been 6 months since my last trial, but today... Oh no! How you do that? Susato-san isn't here. I'm fighting this battle alone. You got me, Naruhodō! You got the player! We got this! We can do this! Oh, maybe it's my imagination, but the atmosphere in here feels even heavier today than usual.
Now then, the victim in this case was Mr. Kingsley. I remember him.
Conrad Kingsley, the investor. In reality, he was the leader of a certain criminal organization.
You attempted to bring Mr. Kingsley to justice last month, Lord Van Zeeks, but the verdict that the jurors handed down was a unanimous not guilty.
But apparently the jurors have been bought off. I guess this is what they mean when they say that criminals will do anything for a not guilty verdict.
Then, 2 days ago, Mr. Kingsley passed away. Could this have been the work of the Grim Reaper?
If this is to be considered retribution, then perhaps it was. Regardless, Conrad Kingsley was murdered. By the defendant, Benjamin Dirtpour.
Very well. In that case, allow me to ask the 6 level-headed jurors selected from the population of the Imperial City this. Are you prepared to perform your role in this trial?
I'm extremely and humbly delighted to have been summoned to such a distinguished trial.
The thought of clutching someone else's fate in my hands, crushing it, sends shivers up my spine.
Science, magic, sleights of hand in the court. They're all nothing more than shows to fool the masses.
Charlatanic scientists who tarnish the reputation of science should be obliterated at once.
I will give both sides' cases fair consideration, and then make a decision. Is that right?
Things were better back in the day. They weren't like this.
Oh, it's that guy that we found at the wax museum. Hey, that guy there. It's the patrolman who looks like the murderous Officer Ottermole. Looking pretty tired again today. I guess we're still gonna have the sleepy old man in Juror 6's spot.
Now then, as all of you already know, the incident on trial today is a tragedy that occurred at the newly opened London's World's Fair.
The one blessing amidst this tragedy is that there were no casualties aside from the victim. But this new technology, which was meant to fill people with hope, has turned into a horrific disaster.
Therefore, one could say that the attention of the whole of London, no, the whole world, is focused on the outcome of this trial. It would be best if we brought this trial to a swift and just conclusion for the world to see. Now then, please begin with an outline of the case, Lord Van Zeeks.
Firstly, the most important thing to know about this incident is the fact that it involves a new piece of technology the likes of which no one has ever seen before.
New technology? I did hear that the government is hoping to use the London's World's Fair to get their hands on some.
Hyper-electric instantaneous teleportation. It's a bit of technology said to have been developed by the defendant. Whoa, 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 why did the bomb suddenly go up? I'm getting, God, I hate the changes to YouTube. Now I'm getting like notifications for things that are not even for me. It's like, hey, you might be interested in this. And I'm like, why do I get a notification for this? Where was I?
Instantaneous...
Wait. Which one is this?
Okay, instantaneous teleportation.
It uses extremely high voltage electricity to break the human body down into particles and instantly teleport them to another location. And once it reaches that location, the body is returned to its original state. That's what the device does.
But is such a thing even possible?
I find it very hard to believe.
Breaking a person down with electricity? I could understand zapping them, but...
Huh. Ludicrous. Realizing such a theory would be impossible.
You're a doctor and a member of the Royal Science Association, correct?
That's right. You can rest assured that I know what I'm talking about. Teleportation is nothing more than a foolish fantasy.
Though this prominent doctor agrees with Holmes-san that it's impossible.
What is the prosecution's opinion regarding the matter?
Our opinion is this. We'd like to assert that the teleportation was successful. Eh? What?
Ridiculous.
Same. Excuse me, what?
Order!
The defendant's theory is currently undergoing investigation by the English government, and depending on the result of that investigation, they may end up paying a large sum in research support funds. The defendant used his technology for evil and took the life of his investor, Kingsley. They're best friends, right? In order to obtain the research funding. So then... the tragedy that occurred here was by no means an accident. It was a premeditated act intended to rob the victim of his life.
Rubble. Very well. The court understands the prosecution's position. In that case, we ask the prosecution to provide proof of that.
As you wish. And the cape's off now! Escort the first witnesses to the stand at once. Okay, Baroque, it feels really strange that you would believe in such a thing that's obviously not true. Witnesses, your names and occupation.
Sir. Tobias Gregson, sir. I'm a detective from the Homicide Division at Scotland Yard. I served as observer for the experiment that day and was in charge of the crime scene investigation after that.
I'm Benjamin Dirtpour, a scientist.
The defendant was born in England but later relocated to Germany to pursue his research.
That's right! I graduated from London University and emigrated to Germany, where I developed my miraculous theory. I came to London's World Fair to unveil my miraculous experiment.
Well, the only thing you actually unveiled was a miraculous explosion.
However, I did manage to teleport him. You all must have seen it too. True, an unfortunate accident occurred, but that part was a success!
I suppose it was. Here's a photo that the Forensic Investigation Division took of the crime scene. Is this the symbol of the London World's Fair, the Crystal Tower? Yes, the victim appears to have been stabbed cleanly in the gut.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like an accident about being stabbed.
Very well, kindly submit this into evidence.
Crime scene photo, Crystal Tower. A picture of the crime scene showing that the victim had been teleported to Crystal Tower. He seems to have been stabbed in the chest.
The victim killed in the experiment was Mr. Conrad Kingsley. There were some unsavory rumors circulating about him, but setting those aside, he was a collaborator with the defendant in his research, and he funded this experiment. So in other words, the defendant took the life of the person who was funding his research. Is that what you're saying? That's what it would mean.
However, the big explosion indicates that the experimental device was likely broken, does it not?
That's right! I put my heart and soul into calibrating my lovely device. My poor darling.
Saw it yourself yesterday, did you not? We weren't able to investigate the wreckage due to that special provision for the protection of science and technology rubbish, though.
What do you mean, wreckage?
I mean, I'm sorry to say, Benjamin, it is pretty much a big wreckage now.
But if that's the case, wouldn't it be very difficult to prove any of this? Whether it was an accident or a murder, I mean.
Actually, it's incredibly simple.
What?
Isn't that right, witness?
Huh? Are you talking to me?
No, the other witness.
Yes, it was murder. Anyone would come to the same conclusion.
But what the heck is that supposed to mean?
Very well. In that case, the court will now hear your testimony regarding your grounds for determining that what occurred behind the scenes of that experiment was murder.
I think we only have time to go through this statement. I'm not sure we're gonna be able to, cross-examine it. The grounds for murder.
The body fell from the Crystal Tower and fractured its spine. Ow.
That was because, well, I miscalculated the angle of fire. That was the accident.
However, when the body was autopsied, another fatal wound was discovered. There was a wound left from when the victim had been stabbed through the heart with a sharp instrument. The
victim was killed before the teleportation occurred, and it would have been impossible for anyone but the defendant to have done so. Good lord. Not only was his spine fractured, but he'd also been stabbed through the heart? It's the first time I heard any of those details. Of course, I can assure you that the wound was fatal enough for him to have died instantly. In other words, if I may be so bold, the defendant essentially killed the victim twice. That's what this means. Yeah, I think this is like overdone.
No! You didn't have to put it quite so baldly.
Here's the program for the experiment that was submitted to the security division. The victim, who was inside this cage-like contraption, was supposed to have been teleported to the third floor area of Crystal Tower, positioned about 25 yards away. However, in reality, that's not what happened. As the device was activated, the explosion occurred. The impact caused the device's emitting port to point upwards. Due to that, the cage was teleported into mid-air. And then plummeted downwards, where it crashed through the circular window of the Crystal Tower. And the impact from that was what caused the victim's neck to break.
I'm so sorry! The device was just too powerful. That was completely, honestly, nothing more than an unfortunate accident.
However, we can't dismiss this as a mere accident. After all, the victim had been stabbed through the heart with a sharp instrument.
What are you talking about? What instrument?
Poor Benjamin. This is the autopsy report that was submitted to the prosecutor's office. I'd like to submit it as evidence.
Very well, the court accepts it.
Autopsy report. A record of Mr. Kingslay's autopsy. His neck was broken by the impact of the fall, and he was stabbed in the chest with a sharp instrument.
But I witnessed that joke of an experiment. The only two people on that stage were Mr. Kingsley and that quack doctor.
Oh, well, in that case, the only possible culprit would have to be Mr. Quack.
I suppose so.
Now then, defense, your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. It's been a while since my last cross-examination. Let's show 'em what we've got. I believe in you, Naruhodō. We got this. We can do this. Alright, we're gonna press statements, whatever statements I've been given. That looks like we're pressing on something with dirt poor. His one statement. Did you calculate the angle yourself, Doctor?
Yep. No one but me could have done such advanced calculations.
And the result was a miscalculation.
Ouch!
That's right! There's such advanced calculations that even I made a mistake.
Maybe I could learn a thing or two from this single-minded optimism.
I factored in the height of my subject, Mr. Kingsley, his weight, the direction of the wind at the time, the temperature. It should have all been accounted for. So, why?
So you must have factored in the weight of the clothes Kingsley-san was wearing too, right?
Eh? I see! The answer should have been 3!
That kind of rhymed. I have a feeling we won't be getting any safe experiments from him anytime soon. The defense didn't receive any such information about this vital fact. This record from the Forensic Investigation Unit of the Yard only arrived this morning. Of course, the prosecution didn't know about it either. I apologize for this unavoidable fact. That was an awfully dispassionate, half-baked apology. So then, what was this sharp instrument? One of the tools in particular among those brought to the crime scene by the defendant caught our attention. It was this. What is...
Ah-ha-ha! That's... my sweet little wingman, Andrew!
Andrew?
Yes, well, my tools are like friends to me, you see. I've given them all names, and we spend our days together.
Benjamin, you need real friends.
My flathead screwdriver is Andrew. My Phillips screwdriver is Michael.
Your beloved Mr. Andrew seems to be soiled by some sort of dark red stain.
It can't be. I'm afraid it can. This is clearly blood. What?
And one more thing. Long, sharp Mr. Andrew there is a perfect match with the shape of the victim's wound. Welp.
Whoa.
Of course.
Order! In any case, let's accept the defendant's friend into evidence.
Screwdriver. The sharp end is covered in blood and matches the shape of the victim's wound. Dr. Dirtpour considers it his wingman and has named it Andrew. And this is not helping our case. So Dr. Dirtpour's screwdriver was the weapon. It's pretty much the last thing I wanted to hear. Yeah. How can you say that so decisively?
Ha! It goes without saying. There were only the two of them up there on the public experimentation stage.
By which he means the defendant, Benjamin Dirtpour, and the victim, Conrad Kingsley. And, before the experiment began, the victim was definitely alive.
Quite. I saw him myself. He was definitely alive.
These jurors are incredibly chatty this time around. Additionally, after he teleported along with the massive explosion, no one approached his body.
In other words, the only one who could have committed the crime was the person who was up on stage with him.
Yo, what's up, Dirtpour? Dr. Dirtpour, is everything alright? Dr. Dirtpour!
Pardon me. I was trying to calculate the optimal electrogenesis factor for returning a particulated human body to its original state.
You don't have to make such a big show of doing that here and now for all of us to see. You just look like you might have something you wanted to say. After hearing the detective's last bit of testimony.
That's right, I did! I believe the detective just said it would have been impossible for anyone but me to have committed the crime.
That's right. Who else could possibly have stabbed him besides you?
I have no idea. It's just... there's no way I could have stabbed him either.
Huh? What do you mean, Dirtpour-san?
Now, listen up. I don't know about this heartless detective here, but... human bodies have warm blood flowing through them.
I'm aware of that.
Then surely you must understand. If I'd used my chubby little Andrew to stab Mr. Kingsley, then... that should have left a sea of blood on the stage. No, a galaxy of blood. Half the citizens of London should have been watching me at the time up there on that stage. But not a single one of them saw that galaxy of blood. Am I correct?
That's true.
See? No one saw it!
I admit I didn't see anything like that.
Dr. Dirtpour, that was an amazing rebuttal. When the witness fights back, and it makes sense.
Order! Order!
Are you gonna drink it or are you gonna break it? For the rudeness of enjoying my lord's chalice out of derision for an old friend's argument, I must beg your indulgence. Your indulgence. Oh, that's hard. I don't know why. That's Benjamin for you.
Aw, go on. I'm not as good at it as you are, Baroque.
True, unfortunately, you're not. Ow!
Huh?
It would seem that you've overlooked one important detail.
Overlooked?
There's one plausible reason that a stab wound would result in minimal blood loss.
I see.
Detective, kindly add that possibility to your testimony. Sir! What are they talking about?
In that case, witness, please update your testimony. All the defendant would have had to do was teleport the body without pulling out the weapon he stabbed it with.
That's an interesting claim. Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and press this claim in the next video because we are out of time, so I will see you guys then.